Hello and welcome to the video. This is a video overview and review of this thing here. Now this, for those of you that are eagle-eyed that watch the channel a lot, might look very familiar. This is the latest Rekon7 PRO. This is actually from HGLRC in collaboration with Dave C, who produces some pretty fantastic designs. My top favourite quad, probably the last 2, maybe 3 years, was actually the Rekon5. Sadly, I lost mine due to the fact that the DJI system on it had a glitch. I lost FPV and we never found it. But for those of you that are regular viewers, you'll be looking at this thinking, hang on a minute, this looks familiar. And that's because I have already had a Rekon7 in to fly. That was the original one, that was an analog version. I'm in the process of updating that to be a walk snail flyer. But it looks like HGLRC have obviously decided that that wasn't good enough and that they wanted to bring out a no holds barred, no expense spared version of the Rekon7, and this is it, the Rekon7 PRO HD. A large part of the expense in this comes from the fact that it's running a DJI O3 Air unit in here. So if you have compatible goggles, this will give you one of the most beautiful HD FPV views that you can get. This actually was the reason that I bought that second pair of goggles back that I talked about in January. I didn't want to have to buy another set of DJI goggles, but unfortunately the V1s that I had wouldn't work with the O3 Air unit. So I've had that thing sat on the shelf waiting for this to arrive. Now I've actually had this 5 or 6 weeks, so there's a very good reason why it's taking me this long to get the video out so you can see it. But I'm going to talk about that more towards the end. So Rekon7 is saying that this is built for the most challenging long-range missions, and it has 28 of 6.5 motors and 7-inch props, and says on the website it can carry high payloads like a GoPro Hero 9, and the testing I've done here, it absolutely can. It will support large batteries. You need a 6S pack for this, ideally minimum of 2200 milliamp hours would be good, or even a nice chunky 21700 lithium ion pack would be a great option for it. I think when they designed it, they were telling me that they went for a zero compromise way of setting it up, and this is definitely put together with all of the best components that they can put their hands on. It has a full DJI Air unit, M80 Pro GPS out the back, and extra large ceramic antenna, so the GPS locks up pretty quick. Dual antenna mounts on the back for the DJI system. I ordered mine with a Crossfire diversity receiver, but you can get Express LRS as well. It's kind of set up by default for CRSF. Wheelbase on this is 324mm, the size is about 337 by 246mm. It's a Zeus F722 flight controller in here, 3 to 6S LiPo capable. Underneath that is a Zeus 48 amp BL Heli S 3 to 6X 4-in-1 ESC. DJI O3 Air unit at the front, M80 Pro GPS out the back. It has a lost model alarm in here. It's the SOTA FPV drone buzzer. It has a battery backup, and it comes with 2 lots of props. HQ props, which are 7 by 4 by 3, and DAL prop. They've also included folders, which is a nice touch, makes it easier to transport, which are in the box as well. Recommended battery for this is a 6S, anything between an 1800 to a 4200 milliamp hour. Now when I got mine, I plugged it into Betaflight and had a quick look, and was surprised that the Betaflight configuration and the setup wasn't running Betaflight 4.4. Surely the whole point of having a GPS out the back is so that you have reliable return to home. This is an expensive model. By the time you've put an expensive battery and an action camera on the top, it's going to be over £1,000, $1,000 flying in the air. So having a return to home that works is going to be pretty critical. However, this isn't Betaflight 4.4. And going onto the website to see if there was a CLI version for iNav, which there was with the original, there is a CLI for it, but at the time of recording this, unfortunately it's for iNav 3.0. That's a couple of years out of date. So I've had to sit with mine and flash it with iNav 6.0 and figure everything out using that original iNav configuration file and the Betaflight dump that I took off it as reference. Now I'm going to put that Betaflight dump down below. I'm also going to put the iNav 6.0 diff all file as far as I've got here extreme caution with that though. That isn't final. There needs to be a load more tuning. The filtering isn't right. I'm getting twitching and all kinds of things. But I will include it in the description down below if you want to see how your ports are set up and how to configure things like the OSD and those kind of bits too. In terms of flying, my flying weight on this with the 1400 4S battery that I've got is about 795 grams. Not flying it with an action camera until I'm confident that the iNav configuration is absolutely spot on. The flying though is a very similar experience to the original non-DJI HD version that I have here. It hovers at an extremely low throttle value, about -64 on HTX, which means that the hover throttle for your navigation modes in iNav needs setting about 1180. It's very quiet and it is very stable, but I am getting a little bit of twitching when I'm flying around, and that's probably because I need to home in on my iNav settings. So hovering at that low throttle, there is tons amount of power for carrying heavier cameras and much heavier batteries. And I've been playing with it here with the iNav position hold and also the GPS return to home, and both of them are working well and working reliably. But don't forget, you do need to set your hover throttle in iNav if you're going to be doing something like this. Now, as you can see in the images, there was zero drama from this. From the FPV footage, you can see that occasionally I'm getting a little bit of twitching. That needs to be addressed in the iNav tune and some of the filtering on this thing as well. In terms of any shake or vibration or jello from the HD footage out of the DJI system, I can't really see that. It's performing really well. So in summary, the flying experience is kind of no drama. It's kind of all flying as expected on a untuned iNav configuration. Flight time from the 1400 mAh 6S pack that I'm getting here, it is giving me about 12 to 14 minutes of flight time if I am being gentle, a lot less if I am flying in a very spirited fashion. Now, there's a lot to like about this. This is an updated, no-holds-barred version of the Rekon7 that I looked at last time. I like the fact that the O3 air unit is available as an option in here now. It would be nice if they also offered it with things like walk snail and HD02 as well, for those of us that favour that system. The frame itself is incredibly strong. This one has bounced around in all the flying that I've been doing here, and it's showing zero signs that it has been bounced up and down a couple of fields. Beautiful build quality, as you'd expect from HGLRC. They really put a lot of time and effort into making sure that all the carbon is finished, everything is done up. I always check all the bolts on something like this in case something has come loose, but not only are the bolts and screws all nice and tight, but they're all got thread lock on them for the ones that go into metal posts. Little touches like that that really make me happy. Decent flight time as well, even from the smaller battery that I'm using here. If you use a larger battery, flying times of 20 minutes or more is going to be easily possible. However, I would have preferred if they'd have kind of optimized this less about out and out performance and done more of an endurance setup as well that would give you much longer flight times, maybe sacrifice a little bit of that power for a little bit more endurance. Lots of room on here for the bigger battery and also for the action camera, and with this very long top deck it does mean that you can move the battery nice and far back to offset any weight that you put in the nose, because that dead cat style and the way it's all built has been really thought out with those bigger batteries and action camera mounting in mind. And the other nice thing is that because it's kind of set for a CRSF connected receiver, something like the Crossfire system that I'm using here, which has a vertical antenna here at the front, horizontal antenna here at the back, means that I get great signal wherever I am, and I'm getting the telemetry back onto the radio. So I'm using the iNav Lua script before I fly to monitor things like the GPS status, but also to keep track of how much battery is left too. There are only a couple of things to be aware of with this. As I've mentioned as part of this video, at the moment, at the time of recording, there isn't a CLI available for this for Betaflight 4.4 or iNav 6.0. That is a crying shame, because with a GPS on the back and the compass that's installed in here, that stuff seems to work very well. And by the time you've added all those extra pieces on top of what is quite an expensive quad, you're going to have a lot of money flying around. And if something happens to your FPV and your spotter isn't quite sure which way round it is in the sky, you want to be able to hit the oh dear switch and have it reliably returned back to you. Looking at the older setups on the website as well for the original Rekon7, it's available as a CLI, again only for iNav 3.0. We've had a number of versions since then, 4, 5 and now 6, as well as different Betaflight versions, so I have fed back to RekonFPV and HGLRC that they need to be updating those CLI files on the website as new versions of that software come out. Okay, maybe not do it indefinitely, but couple of years after the product has been released, while it's still on active sale on the website, personally I think that's a very basic thing to do to make sure that pilots are getting the best from the hardware that you've sold them with the latest software, particularly around things like tuning and notch filtering and all that stuff, so that it flies absolutely beautifully, because most people are going to be flying this to do kind of filming and exploring. The other thing I'll comment on here is be aware when you go to flash this with another version of the firmware. I got caught out with it. I did a whole video on it. Unfortunately, the flight controller and the way it's all wired up will not go into DF mode until you power off the two things that are soldered onto the top. I'll put a link down below to that video. I've also fed that back to HGLRC. Hopefully they change that. That isn't great. It means that when you want to change the firmware on this or flash it to the latest version of Betaflight or iNav to take advantage of some new feature in the software, you have to take the top deck off and warm up the soldering iron. I wouldn't expect that from something that's this premium a product. So in summary, this is another beautiful quadcopter from HGLRC, but there are a couple of issues. Again, I fed all of that back, and HGLRC assure me that they are working on addressing both of them. If they do produce an iNav 6.0 CLI configuration file with the tuning, with all the notch filtering and everything set up, I'll absolutely put it on here and take it for a fly and do another flight review video, because as it is at the moment, I'm still kind of playing with it and trying to figure it all out. Again, I've put my CLI version for iNav 6.0 down below, but be aware that is very much a work in progress. I haven't really started all of the tuning stuff yet. I need a number of calm days and quite a few packs and a bit of time to kind of work my way through all that stuff. But if you have been looking at this on the HGLRC website and you like the idea of getting a DJI O3 Air unit into one of these bigger 7-inch models, then hopefully that's been useful and you're now a little bit more wise about what is good and what you just need to keep an eye on. Thank you for watching the video. If you watch my videos and find them useful, then please take a moment to hit the like and subscribe button. It helps the channel a lot. If you really like what I'm doing here, you can become a Patreon and support the time I spend helping others and get access to lots of exclusive benefits. Link is in the video description. Remember that all the videos on the channel are organized into playlists, so you can easily use those playlists to find all the videos on a subject that you are interested in. Add Painless 360 to your searches on Google and YouTube, and it'll help you find my content for any particular topic. Thanks again for watching, and as always, happy flying.